All right, Mets, really quick. The July numbers, we went over them. We went over the June numbers last time, and they were not pretty, right? July numbers, and I know we're 2 weeks past then July, but I think it's important to note that we were 14-9 in July. I know it probably doesn't feel like it, but that's a 609 winning percentage. And if we continue to get that winning percentage over the course of the season, the remainder of the season, I think we get a playoff spot. So it is interesting that we did sell at the trade deadline, although hardly any logical, rational Mets fan will tell you it was the right move to make. It's just, even with that 14-9 record in July, we started 6-0 and then we went 8-9. And I think it was losing to the White Sox, even though we took the series, like losing one game to them when we're clearly have the better record than them. Probably should have been a sweep. Probably deterred management and the front office from going in and buying. Losing to the Nationals, that's another team that you should probably sweep. Not capitalizing against the Yankees or Red Sox, like taking another game from them. We had games in our grasp. And not to say that we're necessarily that much better than the Yankees or Red Sox, but the fact that we had them and they were the Yankees were in a bad spot and we probably should have beat them. Red Sox, we let one slip away. Padres as well. That's another one where Padres have been struggling big time and we didn't take advantage of it. So yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, we suck on the road. We're 24-38. Our record is less than 400 on the road. So it's like, that's been a big contributor to things. We ended up, and people are saying like, look at how bad we were after the trade deadline. It's like, well, there were also teams that sucked after the trade deadline that were buyers. And how much more pissed would you be if we bought at the deadline and we were 0-6 or 1-5, So ultimately it's still the right move in my mind. But it is such a, like I said before, it's a fine line between like, when do you push the gas and when do you pump the brakes? I don't know. Cause if you beat the White Sox, you beat the Nationals, you take a game from the Yankees, you take another game from the Red Sox, that's 4 more wins. We're now at 18-5 in July. Like it really came down to, it feels like 3 or 4 games. 2 or 3 games. That was the difference between them saying yeah and no. We released Luke Voit. This was like a couple weeks ago, but I felt like that was pretty dumb. Like, we sign him. He's absolutely crushing the ball in the minor leagues. We don't have a legitimate DH. Why not just bring him up and give him a shot and give him like a week, 2 weeks? Give him the rest of the season. You have gotten 0 production out of your DH position in the lineup. Just let Luke Voit have at it. My thought there is it had to come down to a business financial thing where it's like, maybe if we were in the running, we would bring him up. But the fact that we don't think we have a shot at the playoffs, it's not worth bringing him up. And so we end up releasing him. But I don't know. I still think you bring him up regardless. Let's see some dingers, bro. Yeah. So like, there are a lot of no names in the lineup. After the wholesale fire sale, Danny Mendick, Jonathan Arauz, Rafael Ortega, DJ Stewart. It's a lot of dudes that we're not used to seeing. On the positive side of things, Tim LaCastro coming back, Sam Coonrod coming back. It looks like, Drew Smith still stinks, but it looks like the guy they got from the Dodgers, Phil Bickford, looks like he's pretty cool. He's already picked up two saves as a Met, I think. The August numbers, not so great. We were 0-6. It was the complete opposite from the start of July. We're 0-6 to start. We got swept by the Royals, who have legitimately 70-plus losses, less than 40 wins on the year, in Kansas City. And then we get swept by the first place Orioles in Baltimore. And it's like, oh, so we're really we're not even going to try. Like, we're done. People are throwing around tank mode, and I get it. It's, all right, whatever, tank mode. But I legitimately think the clubhouse and the team and a lot of the players to a T were shocked and stunned and did not see this coming and are like, are in denial about the reality of the situation, which is front office and the management thinks we're not going to make the playoffs. And so I think it really like threw everyone for a loop. And it was just like they weren't able to recalibrate and get their heads back in the game until the Chicago series when they took 2 or 3 from the Cubs. One of the hottest teams in Major League Baseball, by the way. They were 10-5 over the last 15 days as of August 10th, right? And that includes the series against the Mets. So they had lost 3 games in the last 12. I like that was somewhat impressive. And as a Cubs fan, you must be so pissed because it's like, all right, we're gonna lose these schmoes. And then we went up against the Braves, and we got shut out pretty handedly in the first game. Then we had the doubleheader. Game 1 of the doubleheader, we just refused to dress anyone of importance and lost by 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Touchdown, extra point touchdown, 2-point conversion and a field goal, 21-3. We were outscored 34-3 in the first 3 games of the series. It was the worst run differential over a 3-game stretch in franchise history. No big deal. But then we turn around, we win the series finale on Sunday Night Baseball. A block that we never win in. So interesting. And it's behind Kodai Senga. Thank you very much. Monday, we beat the Pirates 7-2 at home, and it's like, what is going on here? We're building something special, and then, of course, tonight, Tuesday, we're facing a pitcher named Bailey Falter and can only scratch together a run against Bailey Falter. And then it completely unravels in like the 7th or the 8th, where we gave up 6 runs, and then kind of scratch back, lost 7-4. But it is interesting the approach that we're taking now, like whether it's Carrasco or Peterson. It's like, I think Carrasco threw 88 pitches through 3 innings, 3 and a third, 3 2/3. And then Peterson tonight, 90 some odd pitches in 3 2/3. It's like these fucking pitchers are struggling, like barely getting out of innings. Able to work themselves out of jams, but you're giving us literally less than 4 innings. And so that's going to stress the bullpen. So right now it really looks like all you have in terms of legitimate opportunities, chances to win are Senga and Quintana. And Quintana's not even going that deep in most appearances. So yeah, I wouldn't, I'm not counting us completely out. I know that there was a commenter, Mario something or other, that was like, dude, Mets season, blah, blah, blah. Dude, the Mets season was over a month ago. I was like, well, a month ago would be July 15th. That was a full 2 weeks before the deadline. I don't know that we were necessarily thinking that it was over a month ago, but thanks. Please take care of your brother Luigi, and I hope you beat Bowser. And good luck with Princess Peach, my man. Since the trade deadline, this was as of August 9th. I mean, like what I was talking about, Arizona in the thick of it, in the playoff hunt. Buyers, we dealt Tommy Pham to them. They were 0-7 through 8-9 through August 9th. The Angels, dude, in an effort to, I guess, attempt to keep Shohei Ohtani, were buyers. They were 1-7 the first 8 games after the deadline. The Padres 3-4. Milwaukee's like 4-4. So it's like, you'd be fucking so furious if we went out and bought and ended up having a 500 to losing record, because you probably would have to sacrifice more of our farm system. And we did the opposite. And people keep saying replenish the farm system. It's like, all right, we got 7 guys and maybe they're all top 20, top 30 prospects. I don't know if it's replenish, but it's certainly we're heading in the right direction. So where did we go wrong this season? For me, it comes down to 3 series. And, maybe I shouldn't count the last series because that's after the trade deadline, but it's just simply not winning against teams with worse records, losing records. Some may say bad teams. 2-4 against the Rockies, who are 46-73. Can't have it. 0-3 got swept by the Tigers in Detroit, who are 53-65, which they have basically the same record as us, but at the same, had a much worse record than us when we played them. And then the Royals getting swept by the Royals, who were 39-81. It's crazy to think that over a 162 game season, as of right now, it really came down to 5 to 10 games. But that's such a small, when you think about it, it's such a small sample size of 162 game season, but it's really 5 to 10 that really altered the path and made a lot of people think, no, it's not in the cards. But it's funny, like timing, I have poor timing. A lot of things in life come down to timing, and the timing was just off. Pete Alonso has blown up, on fire. Francisco Lindor heating up. Jeff McNeil heating up. Lindor, since the start of July, is hitting 303, 6 doubles, 2 triples, 6 homers, 15 RBIs, and 24 runs scored. He finally reached the 2020 mark, which is 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases. And he becomes the first Mets player with at least 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases since Carlos Beltran in 2008. Say what you will, but this guy should have been an all-star this year. He should have been an all-star last year. Jeff McNeil in the month of August, batting .315, with an .811 OPS. He's been under 700 for pretty much the entire season. With a double, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, and 9 runs. Pete Alonso has the most seasons of 35 or more home runs as a Met. 4 times. Mike Piazza, Daryl Strawberry, Hojo, and Dave Kingman, all 3 seasons each. Why you would want to trade this guy, I have no idea. There's no way he's going to ask for too much money. He loves the Mets. He loves playing. It's his favorite team. He loves playing for them. If we're going to, I saw this tweet somewhere. If we're going to pay 2 over-the-hill aces $40+ million a season, we can afford Pete Alonso, who has at least another 5 good seasons in him, I think. Most home runs by a Mets rookie in a season. Obviously, there's Pete Polar Bear at 53 in 2019, but the next Mets player is Daryl Strawberry with 26 in 1983, and right below that, 5 away, although he might have closed it since then, Francisco Alvarez with 21 this year. So really hoping he is considered for Rookie of the Year. That'd be sweet. Him and Kodai Senga both battling for that title. And then, so the list continues with Ike Davis, 19 home runs in 2010, and Ron Svoboda with 19 and 65. It's like, which one of these does not belong? Ike Davis, oh my God. I'll say this, as fucked as the season is, the second half of September could be fun. We exclusively play the Marlins and the Phillies from September 18th, I think, until the end of the month. 13 straight games of Marlins and Phillies. And the Marlins and Phillies are currently like in the thick of the playoff hunt, like leading the wild card, second wild card spot. So the fact that we could have a few call-ups that I'll get into in a little bit that could come up and play spoiler is just, I love that. The fact that we could spoil the Marlins season and spoil the Phillies season after they have spoiled back-to-back seasons in 07 and 08 would be pretty a bit nice little sweet taste of revenge. So things to look forward to if you're a Mets fan, right? I mean, there are a couple developments to watch before some stuff happened, but Brett Beatty was we were keeping an eye on him and he got demoted. And it makes sense. I mean, you look at his numbers, the kid was struggling. He was in his own head. He's now goes down to the minors and he's tearing the cover off the ball. And it's like, I don't know, if you keep doing it for another week or two, I guess we can call you back up, because I don't know that Danny Mendick is the answer at third. Mark Vientos is another guy to keep an eye on. It seems like he hits the ball real hard, but it's always to someone. So, his OPS is below 600. I think he's hitting maybe around 200, maybe less than 200. Feels like he, I don't know how much time he has left up at the major league level. He's getting time now, folks, but he continues to make errors in the field and he's not getting hits. He's not getting on base. So we'll continue to play him, but just for all the Mark Vientos stands, like, settle. And then Mauricio is the one that I'm most excited about. I think Anthony DeComo mentioned that he might be going through some fatigue issues because he has been playing, I think he said like 18 straight months of baseball, which is just that'll make anyone want to quit. But since July 16th, Mauricio is batting .228 with a 26.4% strikeout rate. So it feels like maybe, that could be a fatigue thing, or it could be like, all right, I'm kind of tired of playing at this level and I know I'm going to get called up, so I'm going to coast a little bit. That can happen with some younger players, I think. And then Edwin Diaz is eyeing a late September return. Why? If for some miraculous reason, we are in the playoff hunt. Okay, fine. If we're eliminated from the playoffs, why? Why would you risk it? Why would you even think about that? And the same thing happened with, I think, Syndergaard, with Thor, and with it might have happened one of the seasons with DeGrom, where it's like, we're out of the playoff hunt. There's no reason for you to come back. Maybe this is like, it'll provide you some kind of boost in the short term, but do you think that's going to carry over the long term? Maybe. I don't know. I'd rather not. Same with Starling Marte. Like, obviously, his groin, whatever is ailing him, that has been ailing him, this injury that's dated back a long time is affecting his play. It's impacting his play. Just shut her down, dude. Shut her down. You're not going to be of any help to us. Maybe if there's some miraculous playoff push that we pull it out of our ass, great. But at this point, there's no rush to get back. Like, we've kind of half raised the white flag. It's not like a full raise. And of course, there are reports now coming out that Verlander is a diva and that he didn't get along with Scherzer, which is news to me, my man, because it was like, oh, they both played in Detroit, so they're both familiar with each other and they both like each other and they're friends. And it's like, well, that's not the case. Great, grand, wonderful. So glad we signed him. And of course, both of them are pitching like off the charts, like so well for their respective teams. I know Scherzer did get lit up a little bit in the first portion of his first start for the Rangers, but then settled down. And then his last start was like 7 innings, no runs. So yeah, he's settling in, but I'd still like to see what happens when September rolls around and October, because I honestly think that both those dudes are going to fall off. Odds are. So what are the 2024 Mets? Oh, well, September call-ups. I guess we can go over that. So obviously Ronnie Mauricio is at the top of the list, who I'm most excited to see. But Carlos Cortez is scorching hot right now. Over the last month in AAA, he's hitting 343 with a 1.085 OPS across 83 plate appearances. Plays both the corner outfield spots. Hello. So that could be an interesting call up. Mike Vassell started 2022 at low A, ending the year at AAA. 23 years old, almost threw a no-hitter, which Gelbs mentioned on one of the recent broadcasts that Gary Cohen spoiled. No big deal. And he does have a 5.48 ERA, which is not great, but he is one of the team's top pitching prospects. And I think even Anthony DiComo has said that he should be in consideration for starting rotation in 2024. Luke Ritter, the Mets' best power threat prospect outside of Mark Vientos, who we've addressed that already. 23 home runs, over 421 plate appearances in AA and AAA. He's 26 years old, walks 15% of the time, which is above average, and can play multiple spots in the infield. So that could be an option there. And he's certainly more intriguing than Jonathan Arauz and Denny Mendick. And then Nate Lavender. The calming, soothing side effects of Nate Lavender. Bullpen arm, AAA. He's a lefty. Love that. 2.63 RA across AA and AAA. Strikes out a ton of people, but also walks a ton of people. Hello, Drew Smith. And his fastball averages around 90 to 91. So it could be cool to see him in September. So those are September call-ups. Of those, I mean, they all sound good to me. It's like, I just would love to see them, just to see if the hype is real, see what we got. So Anthony DiComo did a quick rundown of what he believes the 2024 Mets will look like. He believes that Lindor, Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil, Alvarez, and Marte are locks. I'm not so sure about Marte, although I assume most of the coaching staff and the organization are going to give him a mulligan for 2023. Be like, you know what? Injuries. If you were injury free and you played like this, it would be another thing. Injuries definitely significantly hampered your performance and production. Internal possibilities: Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos, Ronnie Mauricio, and then almost certainly gone is Daniel Vogelbach, which I think a lot of the fan base would agree with. Insane that we weren't able to deal him at the deadline. I think that kind of speaks to how he underperformed this season. As far as the starting rotation goes, the locks are Kodai Senga and Jose Quintana. The internal possibilities are the guy we just mentioned, Mike Vassell, David Peterson, Tyler McGill. Not exactly thrilled about that starting rotation. I think that's going to be a major area of concern and probably a top priority in free agency, if I had to guess. Almost certainly gone is Carlos Carrasco, which makes a lot of sense after having a pretty decent 2022, just an atrocious 2023. So I wish him all the best. And then for the bullpen, the locks are Diaz, Ottavino, and Raley, which a lot of people would have liked to see maybe both Ottavino and or Raley dealt, considering their age and declining performance. Internal possibilities, Grant Harwig, Sam Coonrod, Drew Smith, Phil Bickford, Trevor Gott, Josh Walker, Nathan Lavender. So Nathan Lavender was one of the call-ups we talked about. Bickford was acquired from the Dodgers. We got Gott in a trade. And then Walker, I don't know, has been that great. I think he's on the IL. So the bullpen, we need arms. You know, I know we keep going back and forth of what we need, offense or arms. And it's like, well, if Marte comes back completely 100% healthy in 2024 and can stay healthy for 2024, which is a huge ask, you're looking at a corner outfielder and third baseman to pick up in free agency at minimum. So that's 2 players there. Starting rotation, you probably need at minimum 3 guys. So that's now 5 players you're looking to acquire in free agency. And then the bullpen, dude. I mean, you probably need another, I don't even know how many arms in the bullpen. So you're looking at more than a hand's worth, almost 2 hands worth of players to really make this roster feel like it's going to be competitive in 2024. Because, even when Lindor and Nimmo and Alonso and McNeil and Alvarez, like if all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those guys are in lockstep and are firing on all cylinders, you can win games. It's just when they're not all firing, that's when you can slip and slide. You know what I'm saying?